We're glad that you joined us once again in this idea that it would be possible for you as a human inhabiting this little mud ball of a containment of carbon and hydrogen and oxygen around a little point that you call the sun could have contained within your idea of mind a direction or a procedure where you could recognize that your human condition is nothing but a transient moment from the idea that you were separated from everything to the certainty that you are whole and perfect in the universe. And this idea that you can train your mind, all right, to a new way to think is the basis of this course. You'll notice at the beginning of it, we said it's a required course. Of course it's required. You are searching for a solution within your space-time modality, and it's impossible that you will not find it. The problem that you have had is it wasn't contained in your moment of aggregation of thought form that kept you separate from what you really are. But certainly the idea that it's a metamorphosis, certainly the idea that contained within that human identity is a new form of self-identity as being offered to you by a projection of your own mind. And this is the fundamental teaching, that I'm a part of your drama. You've been going along there, those of you who have wondered about this video. Let's look at it for a second. Most of you now watching this video, someone there in your own time has said, why don't you take a look at this? I know it's going to seem impossible to the world. I know the idea that through a single act of forgiveness, you could realize the entirety of who you are could not possibly be acceptable to the aggregations of the world. But this teacher says that I shouldn't be concerned about that. He says, this from the author of the Course, Jesus, my Savior, he says, don't be concerned about that. Let me show you my mind so that we can share the instant of the metamorphosis, the instant of the conversion that will show you instantly that you are reborn to a new identity. Now, the descriptions about what is occurring in this world based on the recognition and the admission of the unsolvability of the problem of who you are will always only be directed to the emergence of you from the idea of potential of the containment of yourself. Let's use the word cocoon for a second. Look at me. You have been in a cocoon of space-time where your definitions of yourself represented only the entirety of that form containment, or the collapse, okay, let's use the Big Bang, or the collapse of yourself into the idea that all of the universe could be contained within that self-identity. Yes, all of the universe is contained within it, but remember that eternal reality cannot be contained, so that your resistance to the release of your containment are the ordeal that you believe you must undergo in order to have a resurrecting experience in your own mind that is inevitable within our own little containment in this references of light, the vibrations of light form that heretofore were contained in our false imagery of each other. Let's go back just for a moment, and our lesson for today says, what? We're going to leave the future in the hands of God. That's an extraordinary idea. And it's impossible for the conceptual mind to perform it. But it's not impossible for you to have that experience here and now, if here and now is the only time that there is. Okay. Let's take a moment now and look back just for the idea that all of the forms that you saw are actually a part of your whole being. Listen. All things are lessons God would have you learn. He would not leave an unforgiving thought without correction, nor one thorn or nail to hurt his holy Son in any way. He would ensure his holy rest remain untroubled and serene, without a care, in an eternal home which cares for him. And he would have all tears be wiped away, with none remaining yet unshed, and none but waiting their appointed time to fall. For God has willed that laughter should replace each one, and that his Son be free again. Listen, we will attempt today to overcome 1,000 seeming obstacles to peace in just one day, right now, right here and now. Let mercy come to you more quickly. Do not try to hold it off another day, another minute, or even another instant. Why? Time was made for this. Use it today for what its purpose is. Morning and night, devote what time you can to serve its proper aim, and do not let the time be less than meets your deepest need. Give all you can and give a little more, for now we would arise in haste and go unto our Father's house. We have been gone too long, and we would linger here no more. And as we practice, let us think about all things we saved to settle by ourselves and kept apart from healing. Let us give them all to him who knows the way to look upon them so that they will disappear. Truth is his message. Truth his teaching is. His are the lessons God would have us learn. Each hour, spend a little time today and in the days to come in practicing the lesson in forgiveness in the form established for that day, and try to give it application to the happenings that the hour brought so that the next one is free of the one before. The chains of time are easily unloosened in this way. Let no 1 hour cast its shadow on the one that follows, and when that one goes, let everything that happened in its course go with it. Are you listening? Thus will you remain unbound in peace eternal in the world of time. This is the lesson that God would have you learn. This is a way to look on everything that lets it be to you another step to him and to salvation of the world. To all that speaks of terror, answer this: I will forgive, and this will disappear. To every apprehension, every care, and every form of suffering, repeat these selfsame words. And then you hold the key that opens heaven's gate and brings the love of God the Father down to earth at last to raise it up to heaven. God will take this final step himself. Do not deny the little steps he asks you to take with him. I will forgive, and I will see this disappear. We're going to be together just for a minute here now, as long as you've accepted the idea that it's possible for you to have this experience. Somewhere within the particulars of your own mind, and if you'll understand basically that I'm not speaking to the world, it'll be a lot easier for you. Let's accept basically the idea that I'm talking directly to you. Now, my attempts to communicate to you within your species identity, with the idea of who you are conceptually, all right, are the difficulties that I'm experiencing. because you use your conceptual form, okay, based on ideas you have about your past associations and your future references to deny you the accessibility of our communication through a moment of forgiveness. Okay? I know that somewhere you perhaps are grieving because I refuse to recognize your plight. Will you let me assure you of this? The love that I'm offering you, okay, is from my mind, from my self-awareness, from my certainty that I see you as whole and perfect as you were created, with no regard at all for your conceptual self.